Hello and welcome back. Eddie Brodasevich, George Stoya, Josh McQuistion here from the SoonerScoop.com studios. A little bit of a breaking news teaser, if you will. We need to get like a little sounder to come in. From the SoonerScoop.com studios. A little bit of a breaking news teaser, if you will. Oklahoma has picked up its 17th commitment in the 2025 class. A local product, Josh, somebody that we had talked about. We kind of previewed it in the preview show going into the ChampUBBQ weekend, which is obviously still currently going on. But Weatherford, 6'5", 216, defensive end, tight end. I think that's going to be something of a question. But CJ Nickson has announced his commitment to Oklahoma.
Yeah, this came down. He announced about a week ago that it was going to be Oklahoma State. And I think the feeling was this is where this was going to go. I think everybody felt pretty good about Oklahoma's chances. This is a guy that Oklahoma offered very early on, made him a priority. And I thought the thing that really stood out was Miguel Chavis really dug in early on this guy, made multiple trips out there to Weatherford. Really, every time we would see him on campus, last summer at camp, it was Miguel he and his dad were hanging out with. And so, again, I just think this is a sign of what we've talked about with Brent Venables and this staff. They're going to do a lot of work in state. They believe in it, and they found a big, long, athletic guy, and it's a little open-ended what position he may play, but I think defensive end is absolutely the expectation where he'll start, but I do think they're just saying he's a really good athlete. Let's let it kind of work itself out.
Josh, is there a position that he prefers?
I would say when I talked to him last spring about it, and CJ's kind of quiet, you don't get a lot of time with him. I got the impression tight end was what he preferred, and I think that's you look at him, he's a power forward in basketball, or a forward in basketball, and I think tight end's just very easy. You're boxing guys out. It's a very similar, it's why we see so many great basketball players turn to football, or turn to tight ends. So I think that's probably more comfortable for him, but at the same time, I do think he's embraced the idea of defensive end because, he knows what he's walking into. He knows his first practice, he is not going to be catching a football. That's not the plan. So now, again, there's some moving – we talked about it in the preview. There are some moving parts where if maybe Oklahoma decided they wanted to take another defensive end, maybe they could talk to him and say, hey, maybe let's leave this open a little bit and we'll kind of see what happens.
It seems like this is another situation, though, and this is kind of going back, and it seems almost repetitive that we bring this up every time that an Oklahoma kid announces a commitment to stay in state. This is something that Brent Venables and the staff wanted to kind of lead the way or lead the charge on in recruiting Oklahoma very well, and a continued, on of what they already have.
Oh, absolutely. We saw it on Thursday. Oklahoma makes another new offer in 2027 to, Joseph Graves.
Sure.
This is a thing they believe in. I can tell you in almost immediately upon their arrival, they were collecting data, making lists, like trying to find out what in-state guys they needed to focus on. And CJ Nickson, was part of that early list because everybody knew about him at such an early age. But I think this has been – you used to hear it all the time, like, oh, Oklahoma, in-state kids, it's not great. And I thought it was a fair criticism at times. At the same time, you don't hear that stuff really anymore, because they are ever present. We had guys. I would say the Thursday camp, I thought was as Oklahoma heavy as any year I can remember. A lot of guys from really all corners of the state.
Josh, what kind of player is CJ Nickson? Like, what kind of athlete are they getting? Because when you look at the class, I feel like he is one of the better athletes in this class. Like you said, he can play different positions, 6'5", 216. Like, he's got the size. What kind of players are you getting? Is this a guy that could come in and play early, or is he more of a developmental piece?
I think he's going to need some time. I don't think it's a long time because, again, George, I can't remember if you were there the day CJ was out walking around with his dad. His dad is a large human being. There is a reason to believe that CJ is going to fill out that big frame, and he can put on that weight. He's not one of those guys that may be fighting it for his first few years. I think he can get there. I think he could be at 230, 235 maybe by the end of his redshirt year, that first year, whatever it ends up becoming. I think from a pure athletic standpoint, though, you're talking about one of the better players in this class. Like, CJ Nickson has elite potential. It's just a matter of, can you get it out of him? Because he has been, like I said, we've talked about it before. His father was a basketball player, a very good one, played at Division I level, And I think CJ always kind of had it in his mind he was a basketball player. And as offers came in for football and he saw his offers for basketball, I think he realized my bigger opportunities are in football. So I think it's a mindset change. And that's kind of always been my question when we talk about the position thing, the tight end, defensive end. I think it's easier to transition to a tight end than it is to be like, I'm going to set the edge against a 300-pound offensive tackle. That's a very different conversation. So that's kind of always been why I've leaned tight end for him a little bit.
And I think, Josh, it's like you said earlier, like if they go out and they get Max Granville and Smith Arogbo in this class, and they aren't able to add another tight end or flip Nate Roberts or whatever it is, like I would think that CJ Nickson would slide in well at tight end.
It just makes a lot of sense, guys, because it's a way to – we've made our defensive end room better and we've made our tight end room better. So, like, you get to build, and we know that 2025 class, it's not exactly where they want it to be at tight end. You love Ryder Mix in 2026, which we've all seen. But Trey Washington, another guy, kind of developmental. You're going to need some time. And I just think with CJ, you could get him in there, let him start adding weight. And he's big enough already where you were like, okay, maybe some third down, some goal line situations. You could do some stuff with him that might be able to work, because in a jump ball scenario, you're not going to find many that can do what he does.
Just another step for this 2025 class, now up to 17 commits. We've talked about, kind of the numbers game, the numbers situation that Oklahoma's in. Maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe more guys in this class, right?
It's wild because, you've seen some changes. We've reported on the board already. Andrew Marsh won't be coming in this weekend as expected. Christian Evans is not going to come in, a guy that we talked about in the preview. He committed to Virginia Tech here over the last couple hours.
Okay.
So, or the last 24 hours.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's been an interesting time. Like, you're seeing, like, okay, this
that
guy's
number
coming
crunch
in.
is happening like before our eyes.
Absolutely. So, but again, when you look at the numbers, Lamont Rogers just leaving campus yesterday. Everything I was told, that visit went really well. So I think Oklahoma is just saying there are certain guys we're going to stretch the numbers for, and there are certain positions where we just can't take that risk.
It still feels like they're going to end up with like 24 guys in this class just because there's too many, and I think they want all of them, and now they got to land them. Like some of these guys we're talking about, they got to go out and actually land them, but it just feels like they're going to somehow end up with like 24.
You talked about Lamont Rogers. We saw him out at camp on Thursday at the kind of the back end of his visit. Everything sounds like that went maybe better than we thought it was going to be going in.
Absolutely. That is, had a chance to talk with some people that, really were around that visit a lot. And I don't know that even Lamont had the hope that it was going to go as well as it did. I think Oklahoma was a school he knew he liked. I can tell you that if there's anybody that's gung-ho about it, it's Mom. And Mom was with him on this visit. What's interesting is he left Oklahoma and immediately headed for his Florida State official visit. Mom's not going on that trip. So I think that – I don't want to say it's telling because she's not missing because of something that was pre-planned. Like she just couldn't go. But I think Mom's on board with Oklahoma. That is the impression I have, and she's a big deal in this recruitment. Like that. So I think that's a really good sign. I still like what I'm hearing, with Michael Fasusi as he's now started his official visit at Texas. But I know everybody's concerned about the Ty Haywood situation. I still think about it. And guys, we talked about this on Monday of this week. They're going to get one of these guys. Like something about it, I believe it. And if you can do that, you can close Darius Afalava. You've got Owen Hollenbeck. You've got Ryan Foje. That's a great four-man class. And then from there, that's when we talk about the numbers. Like, is there a guy out there that they want to take? If Fasusi and Lamont Rogers want to come, they're going to find a way to make that work. But is it going to be that way for every position? Probably not.
You can make some special considerations just because of the importance in the 2025 class. The news of the day, though, CJ Nickson has committed to Oklahoma, another in-state star staying in the Sooner State. We'll have more wrap up, kind of everything from ChampUBBQ weekend. It's going to be a massive weekend, as we discussed on Wednesday, kind of previewing everything. You can see that right here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. For George, Josh, I'm Eddie. We will see you right back here next time.